Welcome to the Supplement Engineer Podcast. My name is Robert Chinetsky. Joining me, as always, for our weekly Supplements in Review banter is Supplement Snoop himself, Justin Hall. Welcome, my friend.
What's up, brother? Here we are again. Never a dull moment in the supplement industry.
Never.
So the weekly podcast is always a nice catch up.
It is, especially when you have time. I know you're in your super busy schedule to make time to appear on this podcast. You know, it's welcomed.
I appreciate it, but we did have to do it a little bit early today because I know we both have like non-supplement related things we're doing today, which I think is kind of exciting.
Yeah, this is actually as of right now, we're recording this at noon Eastern time. This is the first work thing I've actually done today. So aside from answering a couple emails right when I woke up this morning, but the rest of the day is trained this morning, ran to get some booze for Sandy's company's work party where I'll be playing bartender, and then after that it's time to go drink and party and eat some good food after this. So it's a good way to spend a day.
It's a beautiful thing. You know, I was sitting there the other night and I went and visited my buddy over the weekend, and we were playing like PlayStation and we were drinking bourbon. I sent you a couple text messages about the bourbons we were drinking.
Yep.
And you know, now we have this business going where it sort of runs in the background, and I remember I got like a couple invoices were paid while we were sitting there, and I'm like, man, this is exactly what I always wanted to do. Not that, you know, when you get out of doing the 9-to-5 thing, I think a lot of people get excited because they're like, oh, I want to do whatever I want to do and get paid and do fun stuff and get paid.
Yeah.
But we probably spent about a year and a half of working around the clock every day and not making any money, not getting compensated whatsoever. So now that it's kind of starting to come in, I'm like, oh man, this is fun.
I know the payoff has been great. The struggle in the early years, because I think you and I have discussed this. And when I left engineering, I was making roughly 80 grand a year, to going to making from that to going to making $1,000 a month, getting paid like 2 cents a word for writing. So I mean, we were barely breaking even. Obviously, Sandy and I didn't have much expenses. We were living in a 2-bedroom apartment in Michigan right after I made the switch. And she was doing her master's while working a student job at the University of Michigan too, or pursuing her PhD, while taking on her role at as the head of academic tutoring at the University of Michigan. So both of us were like on next to no money, and now it's obviously things have grown better. Now we're in a house now, and have a child and all of that. And it's, like you were saying, it's cool to see the progression. But those first 2 years, man, you were grinding your balls off, working
or nothing.
Yeah, just to make beans. But you know what's great is that when you're doing something you love, while you're not getting paid that much, the lack of stress in your life and how much you enjoy waking up and getting to work each day, I feel like that's even more valuable than the money itself, provided you're breaking even at least.
Yeah, man, and I know, like, I guess we're going to start off philosophically today a little bit, but it's cool because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about the supplement industry and Instagram, and you see people, the way they're living their life, and, it's kind of that iceberg thing where you don't see all the other stuff. And it's kind of cliche, but it's also true at the same time, right? I remember having a conversation with Brady not too long ago, and I was like, so I probably over the last 2 years, since I left my old career, I probably was making, I don't know, a half a cent an hour, probably, if you really did the math. And I was like, and I told Pretty, I was like, there's only one person I think that gets paid less an hour than I do, and it's him. Because just him coming into, to it afterwards, and you know him too. I mean, he's very, successful in a lot of industries, but I was like, you talk about somebody that busted their ass for literally no compensation. Like, I mean, actually no compensation, because it was really cool. We had an awesome moment. It was his birthday the other day, and we actually got a chance to pay each other, and that was the first time since we started this whole thing that either one of us took any money. It's probably about 2 years, I guess maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
So, I get it, man. There's so much draw to start your own business and do your own thing, but you just got to be prepared.
Yeah.
Got to be prepared, but it's cool.
One thing, I've got a question for you. It's usually that the man is the breadwinner in the family. If both people are working, or even if the woman doesn't work, then the man is usually the breadwinner, brings home the bacon, makes more money. Both of us went through a scenario where, for a time, we weren't the primary financial source in the couple, since we're both married. Did you, it'll say things like, guys will feel threatened by that, or it emasculates them. Did you ever feel anything like that? Because I never looked at it that way.
No. And that's one thing I think, probably why you and I have a lot in common too about when it comes to marriage and relationships and stuff like that. Like at the beginning when I first met my wife, I think I was in the same boat as you. You're making really, really good money, and she was making decent money. She was just getting started in her career, and it kind of is like marriage in general, where at the end of the day, you just have to get to like 100%, right?
Yeah.
Whether some days it's going to be 50-50, some days it's going to be, I'm going to be 1 and she's going to be 99. And then the next day she might be, 1 and I'm going to be 99. It's like, dude, that's just the way it goes, man. It's like, at the end of the day, it's just about being a really good team together and accomplishing your goals. Because life, man.
Yeah, shit does happen.
Life is crazy. Shit happens. And you can't be looking at the other person and resenting them. It's like, she could very easily, there's times, she gets up really early for work and stuff like that. And if I'm still working after noon, then I fucked something up. I want to be done by noon. Now, granted, like we meet people, we have meetings around the clock and all that stuff, but it's fun, man, because it's super rewarding. So it's like, I think that there's a lot of people that I know, if their significant other was sort of going through that transition, there would be resentment, but there was never anything but this super positive, supportive, but we always talk about stuff before we do it. And she goes through it too, where she's doing really well now with her career, but there was a time where we both got laid off from very good positions and things. Yeah. So there was a time where, you got to pick up the slack, and then that person's going to pick up the slack, and just got to get to the finish line 100% at the end of the day.
And I would like to echo those sentiments. It's if you didn't do something, and that's what one of the wonderful things, because we're not stuck at an office job or working wherever from 7:30 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or 9 to 5, or whatever your hours were. My old hours, we did a 10-4 schedule or 4-10 schedule, where you worked 4 10-hour days and then you were off on Friday. So I would get in at 6:30 in the morning and leave at 4:30. Now, here's a little secret about the consulting engineering world. You're not actually doing shit for all 10 hours. And that was part of the frustration. I would walk in, review the drawings or go over the calcs or do whatever I need to, go bring it to my supervisor, and he says, you did that too fast. Go back and triple check it. We billed 4 hours for this and you did it in 45 minutes. And I'm thinking, okay, and so that I'd use that other 3.5 hours to go read supplement research or, read exercise and training studies and things like that. So, that was one of the nice things about that job, but you were still stuck at an office for 10 hours a day, and I had a 45-minute commute each way. So you're losing, almost 12 hours of your day doing that. And now it's, I'll work for, I'll do a lot of writing between 8 and 11 every day. And then I'll come home, I'll relax, I'll train, eat lunch, relax a little bit more, pick up Sandy, bring Sandy home. She'll work out. I'll go write for 2 more hours and then pick up the kid from daycare. And it's, having that kind of freedom in your day just helps you balance and relax and enjoy life so much more. And that's one of the great things about, I guess, where we are as far as from a technological standpoint and the way businesses are run now, is that you don't have to be in an office. There's still a lot of jobs that require you to do that, but fortunately you and I are each in a position where we can, we could work out naked every day if we wanted to, and nobody would be not the wiser.
Yeah, it's true. And what's kind of interesting is, where it's very difficult to get to that point, right? You have to make a lot of sacrifices and things like that, and most people aren't going to do. But what I found, I think you said it perfectly. Okay, so you might work 9 hours a day, but your work day is actually 12 or 13 hours because you have your commute, you have just the mental preparations. Do you wake up, I used to wake up an hour or two before I would have to leave for work just because I needed to do that, take a shower and coffee. And so your day is much longer than your work hours. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, then I'm going to go train and then make dinner and then try and spend some quality time with my wife. And it's like, man, that's tough. And it's like, especially when you're doing it for other people, you're working on someone else's sort of watching that. That's why like the allure of doing your own thing is so strong. But everyone is doing it, so you better be willing to do some crazy shit in order to get through, and eventually, hopefully, come out the other side and be good to go. But one thing I've noticed is I'm just much more. There's certain times of day where you're more efficient, whether it's the afternoon. Like we would have a lot of meetings, Brady and I, 1 o'clock in the morning, midnight.
Damn.
And we would get a lot of stuff done. We would get tons of creative stuff done.
Yeah.
Because it's like, sometimes it's like you're working in the morning, man. It's like, how much work, I remember the office days, right? How much fucking work were you really getting done for the first 4 hours a day? And then right after lunch, because you just feel like shit, right? You're tired. It's like, what are you really getting done?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, but then like, if you can sort of set your own schedule, when you're most effective, things like that. So you really can kind of tweak it and then hit the ground running, That's just what I've thought has been the coolest part about the whole thing is really optimizing the hours that you're working rather than having, like you said, drag it out
right
to cover your paycheck. And it's like, man, I'm just so glad.
Yeah.
So glad that I don't have to do that anymore.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. All right, so let's actually discuss some real supplements now. So have any goodies arrived to your mailbox this week that you've been kind of putting through the paces?
Yes. So one thing that I think I forgot to talk to you about, did we talk about Leviathan's Nutrition, the products that I got the one day?
No, and that's from Will, correct?
That's Will, yeah. Will's super smart. Will, he's been doing a lot of videos and things like that. He's like got a chemistry background. There are other chemists in the industry that formulate products besides just the obvious.
Right.
But so I actually bought his nootropic. It's called Zenith, and then his all-around sort of health formula called Ire.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that I talked about it on here because he makes a Tudka product. He started off with Tudka. I don't use Tudka. Just no real need for it. But his other products are super cool. I think Zenith is one that you would be interested in if you have not seen it yet.
No, I just pulled up the ingredient panel. So we've got 1,000 milligrams or 1 full gram of organic lion's mane mushroom extract, the fruiting body, not the mycelium. We got 300 milligrams of KSM 66, 500 milligrams of rhodiola rosea, 125 of L-theanine. That's a whopping dose. 300 milligrams of uridine monophosphate, 250 caffeine anhydrous, 800 L-tyrosine, 800 Alcar, 100 hordenine, 250 N-phenyl dimethylamine citrate, which is the super potent PEA from Aerogenesis, and 10 milligrams of piperine. Yeah, the formula is stacked. My question, well, one thing, I guess this is nitpicking. Don't the ingredients aren't they supposed to be labeled in order of their dosages?
Yes, they sure are. We're seeing that a lot lately too, and I'm surprised. Yeah. I mean, especially Will knows that. I was kind of surprised when I saw that as well. But there's I get a lot of products like that lately that are not in order. That's something that we were just laughing about with Ben from Morphogen. He like loses his shit when he sees that.
Yeah.
But I think that's like because then if you look at Will's other product, it's called Ire. They actually are listed in order.
Yeah.
So I don't know who knows.
Oh, but I really like this formula. I mean, everything is really solid in it. The uridine, the highest I've ever dosed uridine monophosphate is like 150 to 200. So I'm curious how intense that 300 feels, especially with all of the other stuff that you have going on in there.
It's not like it's in the Apollon overtime vein, but it's not as intense.
Okay.
As that from what I've noticed, the overtime at full dose is pretty intense.
Yeah, I really like this formula. I'd be curious to put it through the paces and see how it goes, man. That's a fun one.
Yeah, that one's a lot of fun. I don't use it very often. But what's good about Will that I like and what we're seeing more just in general in the supplement industry is you'll see a formula. Mm-hmm. There's no guesswork sometimes why someone picked. Because like we've made formulas. It's like sometimes you have to, if it's a capsule, okay, you can only use so much dosaging if you're going to fit it into 2 capsules or 3 capsules, and then the price comes into play. It's like, okay, we are going to have to save some money on. It's just the way it goes, right? You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but it's like you have to have a balance there of what your goal is, who you're trying. Like, you could use 1 gram of acetyl L-carnitine. Is anyone going to notice? Is there going to be a benefit over 1 gram over 800? It's just things that you see. But what I like about someone like Will too is he'll tell you, he'll explain it to you. Like, and that's the cool thing, because I've gotten some stuff from. I think you got some stuff from Was it Glaxon?
Glaxon, yeah.
Didn't you get some stuff?
Yeah.
So like, compare with them too. Their formulas, they're going really heavy with some cool marketing, and their formulas are, I would say, middle of the road, pretty solid.
Yeah.
But they explain that, like they'll tell you, well, this is why we do this. It's not, oh well, they don't try to make excuses for what they're doing, like that they know some secret that you don't. They're just like, hey, this is what we're going for. This is the customer we have, and as long as companies are explaining that to people, then I'm cool with it. Like, it's like, hey, just don't pretend, like, don't ignore customers when they want to know why you made certain decisions on formulas. And then also don't treat them like idiots. Like, oh, well, this is this dose and this will work synergistically with this, and this is just as good as using this dose. Like that, don't do that.
Yeah. Don't try to
don't talk to us
pull
like
one over.
Stupid.
Also, since you brought up Glaxon along those lines, Glaxon Claus put us both on his nice list, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, we made the nice list. I tell you what, man, that was another product. So Will's products are super cool.
How have you been using Zenith, by the way, as a pre-workout, as a productivity thing, or how are you using it?
So I used it on an off day, non-gym related, sort of nootropic, like when I had just more work to do and things like that.
Okay.
But I did want to use it to go to the gym, actually, but then also probably stack it with like a
pump, yeah,
a pump, say, performance type. Because I don't know, it's pretty good. It's a pretty fun product. I would definitely recommend people checking him out, because we've gotten to know Will pretty well too, and I'm a little biased towards him. He's a young kid, super smart. He works in a CGMP facility. I know he had created a little bit of a dust up because he called out NutriBio for some GMP violations in some of their videos, and Mark actually thanked them. He was like, hey man, he's like, he didn't take offense to it. He was like, and that Mark has done the same thing. Mark Glazier, he called out a company for CG. It's like, not everyone's trying to be pricks all the time too. It's like, everybody has stuff to learn. And I think people assume that these people running manufacturing facilities like know everything. They, to some extent, but you can't always control, everything as well. So it's kind of a learning experience. So
yeah.
Anyway, just wanted to give a plug to Will, because I think Will's a good dude. He's doing some really good things.
Yeah, the IR health supplement looks pretty stout too. We got 400 micrograms of chromium, a full gram of berberine hydrochloride, a gram of quercetin, 750 of Long Vita, which is one of those enhanced curcumin supplements, 750 of N-acetyl L-cysteine, 500 milligrams of citrus bergamot, 300 of grapeseed extract, 175 of resveratrol, 50 milligrams of estrogen, 20 milligrams of bioperine or bioperin, however you want to say it, and 18 milligrams of natural astaxanthin. So that's cool, because a lot of these citrus polyphenols and all of these grapeseed polyphenols and stuff like that have horrible bioavailability, or they go through rapid metabolization in the body. So I think using the duo of estrogen and bioperine, both have studies shown with resveratrol enhancement and curcumin enhancement. It should be cool to see if that produces any kind of pronounced or tangible effect from taking those.
Yeah, and he's obviously, with his science background, his chemistry background, he is huge into the science. And if you go to his website and then see his materials, like I said, you never have to look at an ingredient and wonder why it's in there, because he'll tell you exactly what he did. And so it's cool. This is one of those brands I think is a little bit under the radar. And I know he's working on a couple new formulas, an adaptogen product, which he's gonna, I'm sure, go full bore. You can see from his formulas the direction that he takes. So
correct.
It's cool. It's always good to see brands like that get some love, since I think he's in a bit of a Morphogen style vibe, where it's like, okay, we're gonna squeeze as much out of this formula and still be able to run a business as possible. Which so and then they don't have money for marketing, so I'll talk about them.
Yeah, well, and that's the beauty of internet retail now, is that you don't have to go the traditional brick and mortar model and go through distribution and all that. So you can start building up your brand with direct to consumer sales, and then eventually, if you want to pivot and go into brick and mortar, you can, but you don't have to suffer that initial profit loss by either producing super high priced products or just getting screwed, and in order to just make margins, you put this really underdosed piece of shit formula out there. Or doing like some other brands have kind of built themselves up going the pro hormone route until you build yourself enough, and then you make the switch to, more kosher ingredients.
That's for sure. Dramatic transformations. Well, I think, and then one of the other new products, I don't know if you got it also, was the, speaking of nootropics and how there's different approaches for businesses, and still being, so Iron Brothers, the Prodigy one. Did you get that one?
Yes, I do have that in hand. I have not put it through the paces yet, but that will be probably tomorrow's nootropic.
I haven't tried it yet either. I mean, I tried it when he was testing it. He sent me some to try, and it was very energetic for a nootropic. Which, so you can kind of take. So Zenith is 20 servings. I think it's like $50, right? So at full dose, it's a pricey.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you can adjust the dosing and stuff like that, but then you have as an alternative, you have something like Prodigy. This one, I think his introductory price on here is like $25 or $30 for 30 servings.
Yeah.
And you still get. So you have 6 or 7 ingredients in here, but everything is like, so it's like, you really can't go wrong. There's not like a right or wrong answer. It's like, well, what's your budget and what are you looking for? I think it's cool to see different options for people, because not everyone wants, spend $2 or $3 every serving for a new. I mean, we know that that's not even really, you don't need,
yeah, especially
nootropic wise, you shouldn't need that all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of, that one and Zenith, I think, are cool that sort of pick and choose when you use them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got both of those. Well, I don't have the Leviathan one. I have Prodigy. I want to get my hands on some Cognisurge. And that's another really well-dosed one that's affordably priced. It's only around $29, $30. I don't know. I told my parents to get me that for Christmas. We'll see if that happens. If not, I'll shell out the $30 and buy it myself. But yeah, we've talked about it. Nootropics are good in that you can adjust the dosing, but I find most mornings, going back to where we started this podcast with our productivity, is that I don't really need much in the morning after, waking up, driving the girls to their respective schools, dropping them off, and then getting settled down to work. That if I have like 1 cup of coffee, I'm good. If I take more nootropics, it makes it harder to think clearly when I'm writing. But then it's like in the afternoons or, middle of the day, if I want to use a nootropic as possibly a pre-workout, or if it's an off day, just take like one of the heavy hitter nootropics, like something like Leviathan's Zenith would be. Put in one of those, man, that'll put you into like work mode for like 6 straight hours, and you can just go.
I'm the same way, and I think, and that's something I've adjusted as I've gotten to know just your own body, your own brain, things like that. I don't throw a lot of stimulatory ingredients at myself first thing in the morning. I let my body wake up, on its own, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I usually I go to the gym around like noon. So if I'm up for a few hours, and then I take a pre-workout, like if I take a pre-workout at 7 a.m., say if I just woke up and then went right to the gym, it is way different for me than if I take it at noon or like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Just totally different experiences. So I just try and wake up naturally anymore. I think it's a slippery slope. People's clocks are a little bit different, but I think I'm in the same boat as you. And then the other, now we have this Brain Gains, UK one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that one.
I did see. I think we've talked about the profile on a couple weeks ago when it first came out.
Because it's caffeine free, this one, so that's interesting too. So it's like when people say to me, they're like, Justin, what nootropic do you use? It's like, well, what do I want that day? Do I
Mm-hmm.
need something, say, like if I take like a really stim heavy pre-workout,
Yeah.
and then I want to balance that out, say in the afternoon, I'm not going to take Zenith, you know what I mean? And
Correct.
like
Yeah.
add 300 milligrams of Riedrensis and caffeine. It's like I would take something like Brain Gains that's,
Yeah.
Kind of has a more calming, or like Azith, something like that. And it's like, well, if I just need, a little bit, then that's like something like Purge. It's like, that's the fun part. So that's why I'm always like, that's why we always talk. Well, there's no best, right? It's
Correct.
What do you need for that particular situation and goal? And luckily for us, man, there's tons of options out there.
Yeah, there's plenty of good. I mean, as much shit as we talk about the poor state of nootropic supplements on Amazon, there are some really solid ones. You mentioned Prodigy, Cognisurge. You can get Leviathan Zenith through their own website. Morphogen, Ben's got his nootropic. This Brain Gains one, I'm looking at the profile again, just for the listeners that may not be following along or have it pulled up.
This is UK.
Yeah, it's UK only. It's got 2 grams of L-tyrosine, 1.5 grams of taurine, 1.5 grams of Alcar, 800 milligrams of alpha GPC. I don't know if that's the 50% yield or not. We probably need clarification, but I would assume it's probably the 50% yield. 600 milligrams of KSM, 600 milligrams of lion's mane, 400 milligrams of Panax ginseng extract, and I'm sure it's got 16 milligrams of ginsenoside, which is the active compounds that are in Panax ginseng. So I'm sure that, I don't know if that's an additional 16 milligrams or if that is what that extract is yielding. We've got 300 milligrams of Bacopa Monieri standardized to the 55% bacchuside, which is the solid research-backed dose, 250 of phosphatidylserine, 200 of theanine, and then 100 of teacrine. So all
pretty
in all,
loaded.
Yeah, it's a robust formula, and I'm sure that would do very well.
Yeah, and that's just kind of one of those ones. Like I said, if I'll tie this into one of the other new products that I tried this week. So Glaxon's been sending out stuff to tons of people, right?
Yeah,
they're good dudes over there. They're I mean, if they wanted to make, I will say this. I talked to their formulator over there. He's a smart guy. Like,
yeah,
if their business model was to create insane, super expensive formulas that are mind blowing, he could do it. Like, but he also, I think he knows how to squeeze the most out of. Okay, we're going to try to make a formula, because they do a lot of retail too. Mm-hmm. So you add retail to it. So it is part of the equation when it comes to making a formula. I mean, it's just no way around it. So they sent me this specimen. Did you get Specimen?
Which one is that?
This is their high stim pre-workout.
No, I don't have any of their pre-workouts here. I have Plasma Surge, which is their stim-free pump. I got their sedative sleep aid Adrenal, which is the nootropic. The Super Greens, which I love the label design on Super Greens because it looks like the Space Jam logo. Yeah, I love that. That's a movie very near and dear to my heart. And there was one other one, the EAA formula.
Specimen. It's so you look at it, right? The formula. I'll get to my point here. Yeah. It fits in with exactly like what they're going for, right? So there's 400 caffeine. There's 100 theanine. There's some lower dosages of, like, say, tyrosine's 250 milligrams. They use that cholinase in literally every product that they make.
Yeah.
They love that stuff. And there's a gram of glycerol, gram of glycer pump, so there's 650 milligrams of glycerol. A gram of taurine, 1.5 betaine. So a lot of these ingredients not huge dosages, but they have 400 caffeine. They also use alpha yohimbine. Well, they use the ribosine, and they use regular yohimbine. And the halostacine, the one that Mileblocks used to use a lot of.
Yeah.
I took this freaking thing yesterday.
Full scoop.
It rocked my shit. First off, the first thing I noticed was the beta alanine. Mm-hmm. Like, I had this sort of debate with some company owners because I got a question on my Q&A the other day, and someone said, why is it that some products I take, I feel the beta alanine and some I don't? And I was like, it's true. I was like, I don't really know. I was like, And I got a lot of company owners, and they're like, "Well, it's when you get to saturation point." I was like, "That's bullshit. That's not true at all." Because I've been taking beta alanine for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I was like, and I used this product, and I wanted to claw my fucking face off. Like within 5 minutes, I was like, "Holy shit!" So, but I like that. Like I was like, okay, but the energy from this thing was nuts. Like it was nuts. So if you're looking for something to just, it was not as like say uncomfortable as say like Chemix where it's just as black, but dude,
yeah,
I slept on it a little bit because I was like, okay, it'll probably be 400 milligrams caffeine to me. That's it's really nothing. But that's kind of the funny part is you could take Hooligan that has 700 milligrams caffeine, and then this has 400. This was way more intense than Hooligan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is all. It's got, like you mentioned, it's got 2 forms of yohimbine in there, and the Halo Stay Shine. I don't know how powerful the Halo Stay Shine is. The only thing I can remember ever using that in is like an old version of Muscle Sports Rhino back when they still had amp citrate.
I think mine was Skywalk. I feel like Skywalk had something there.
It may have. I never tried Skywalk. I tried some of their other products, but I don't think maybe I tried like the very first version of Skywalk, but that was shit over 2 years ago now. So, yeah.
Well, I think a lot of times, like when I've seen it, it's sort of it's within a giant proprietary blend of a bunch of other things. So it's like, well, I have no idea if that's doing anything or not. You know what I mean? I've just never been able to pinpoint it. But I will say, I was shocked.
How potent
I can handle some stimulants. I can handle stimulants pretty well.
Yeah.
And dude, I did legs yesterday. I was jacked up. So I mixed it. I mixed it with some Baso Blitz. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good because there's not much in here for like say performance. You have beta alanine, but we know like acute effects and
right. Unless you're doing something longer than 60 or 90 seconds, it's not really going to confer much benefit.
Right. So you have taurine, betaine.
Mm-hmm. Good volume.
But other than that, not much for say, pump performance. There's a little bit, but so I would stack it probably with something simple like Vasoblitz, you get some nitrates and citrulline and good stuff like that. But that thing punished me, man. I was shocked, and I know like you get sometimes when you try a new pre-workout for the first time, you'll get some effects that that are hard to replicate. So I'd be curious because man, I was flying.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. Well, while we're on the topic of Glaxon, let's go. Let's dig through a couple of their other formulas. Looking through their page right now, I will say that their greens formula, their super greens formula, is one of the tastier greens products I've tried. It doesn't taste like shit, which is nice.
I haven't tried it yet. I have it here, but I have not tried it. Sandy's
been using that because she's been sick on and off since October, and so she's trying to like cram down. She's been pounding emergencies, like immune boosting mushroom blends that we got here in the house, the super greens formula. I mean, any kind of supplement she can do, plus doing like nasal rinses and Zyrtec Ds and all this other shit. Everything she can do to like kick this cold for once and all, she's trying to. I do have, while I'm looking at their page from Glaxon, I do have the hybrid. Which is their nootropic keto carb product. It's hybrid dual energy. I have yet to try this, but let's go over the formula and get your thoughts on
again. That. What is it?
Hybrid?
Hybrid nootropic keto carb. Oh my god, it's like every industry buzzword all thrown into one.
Oh yeah.
So I'm on their website. It's all like the labels blurred out. I wonder is it because they have not released it yet?
No, they've got it. I mean, you and I estimated delivery between December 23rd and December 30th. Maybe it's not, but I mean, they've got it up on their website. All right, so I have a tub here. You think we should?
Is it just
go through the panel?
Is it just my computer? Because when I hover over the back of the label, it's like it's there, but it's blurred.
No, it's fuzzed out on mine too.
Okay.
I guess for the sake of not spoiling their product launch, if that's what they're pretending to do with this, I will not reveal the profile. let's hold off on that then.
Well,
I'll send it to you after we get off camera here.
Well, it says in the product tags over here, it says BHB, choline bitartrate, CoQ10, creatine. I like those ingredients.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen this one yet.
Yeah, and then their GFY pre-workout, their label is blurred out on this too, unfortunately.
But they told me yesterday, because I was talking about Specimen yesterday.
Yeah.
They said that GFY is stronger.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be cool. And do you want to? It says product tags: beta-alanine, betaine anhydrous, cholinase, hygienamine, high stimulant, hordenine, L-tyrosine, magnesium, mind-muscle connection, and mucuna-pruriens.
All right. I like the GFY name.
Yeah, I do too. That should be. And if for you listeners out there that don't understand that, do a quick Google search. You'll figure it out. This is a kid-friendly show.
I asked him, I said, so should I stack this? Should I stack GFY with FSU?
You get the double F-bomb.
Yep. So, I don't know, man. If this is... So, the Specimen is full-spectrum high stimulant, and GFY is ultra high stim.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Specimen was enough yesterday for me, that's for sure.
Awesome. Is it as our boy Nick from Rage says, light your balls on fire?
I was flying. It was intense. The Yohimbine was. It wasn't anxiety though, which was good, but it was walking that line.
Yeah, you definitely amped up.
But so yesterday was a perfect day where, you come back and you're still all amped up, and you have to work. I would reach for something like Brain Gains. Mm-hmm. Actually, I did take that yesterday because it's got a lot of calming ingredients, but sort of refocuses you for the rest of the day. And I think that's where it ties into what you and I have talked about utilizing, say, like adaptogens and things like that. Mm-hmm. Post-workout afternoon when you still have to work and stuff like that. And by doing that, you just really, it just made the whole day sort of smoother just by trying stuff like that.
Yeah. Excellent.
It was I was shocked, man. I was at the gym and I'm like, this is fucking crazy. I was like, I have not had a pre-workout shock me like that. Mm-hmm. Like how strong it was.
Yeah.
The last one I took that was really strong like that was the Relentless Labs Activate. Mm-hmm. But that one's got isopropanol-norepinephrine, it's got a lot of regular synephrine, it's got N-methyltyramine, it's got all this stuff, and you're looking at it, you're going, this is gonna light you up.
Yeah.
Like, this one, I was like, there's some caffeine, some yohimbine, I'll take it. The flavor was really good too. It's like it was lime, so it's called Alien Pop. I love lime.
Yeah.
The flavor was really good, but
that's good.
I was shocked.
All right, well, since we're on a nootropics tangent right now, scrolling through Stacked yesterday, I saw that Purge, they teased their NeuroX nootropic stem complex a few weeks back, and now we've actually got the profile reveal. So I was going to go through this and get your thoughts on it, because what jumped out to me, I'll save for after I get your thoughts on it. So we start off with the Purge Neuromatrix. We got 500 milligrams of the fruiting body of lion's mane. We've got 500 milligrams of L-tyrosine, 500 milligrams of choline bitartrate, 250 milligrams of mucuna, standardized for 15% L-dopa, 125 of rhodiola, 100 of DMAE, 50 milligrams of Conaese, and then we get into their stim matrix, which is 425 milligrams of their caffeine complex, including anhydrous dicaffeine malate and caffeine from green tea. We've got 100 milligrams of dynamine, 100 milligrams of octopamine, 100 milligrams of L-theanine, 75 milligrams of hordenine, and then 2 milligrams of Aspidosperma querubrancho blanco extract.
The hell is that?
I'm guessing that's like a crafty name for yohimbine-containing plant, because the dose is like right on spot with that, of what you would get from an alpha Y.
So these are the same people that make Muscle Sport and Kodiak and all that stuff.
Ah, okay. So, I did not know that.
Yeah, this is one of their other brands. So they definitely. I mean, their formulas are always pretty good, at least pretty good. You know, I'm sure the same guy that formulated the Rhino, the King's Ransom Rhino, made this one. That would be my guess. I mean, so you have like it's using a really good like rhodiola. Not the the dosage is a little low. The DMAE is pretty low, but what I've noticed with them, and this is just like a common theme with Muscle Sport, Kodiak, Purge, they're going to give you some good dosages of some ingredients, and then some of them they don't shortchange you. It's not like an underdose thing, but they do add some extra ingredients. And I don't want to make the excuse that they're putting some ingredients in there and just going, well, maybe it'll help.
Yeah.
But it has a good skeleton, say around it. This one's. I mean, it's all right. It's a lot of caffeine, dynamine, octopamine. I don't know that I've used it enough where.
It's got a tangible effect. Yeah.
Yeah, there's. I mean, Canaese, 50 milligrams of Canaese is.
It's going to have a very calming effect.
Like.
Yeah, I mean, because it's got the theanine in it. I don't know. I almost feel like I don't think you need this many stimulants in a nootropic. And that was my old problem with the Skywalk from MyoBlocks, is that you had 400 milligrams of caffeine plus DMHA plus a bunch of other stuff in there. And this is the kind of the same thing. Like, we have a ton of caffeine along with yohimbine, and I'll get to the Aspedo extract in a second because I just pulled up a study that we can go over. So the rhodiola it's an adaptogen, yes, but most of the time it's an energizing adaptogen that helps alleviate stress but provide, increases mental vigor and things like that. So all of that coupled with the 50 milligrams of Canaese, it seems like you're just throwing high stimulants and high relaxation agents together and hoping to try and get like this synergy of just like you're balanced out, you're amped up, and you're leveled off. And so I would have to try this to get an actual, review of it. The profile leaves me a little leery just based off that, because why go with choline bitartrate when we know that it doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier? Yeah, it's got some, other organ benefits and increases serum levels of it, but it doesn't enter the blood-brain barrier, and it's not super duper effective.
Yeah, I agree. Like, where it's a lot of that whole thing that we talk a lot about, lots of stims, lots of calm. It's like, well,
can we just cut everything in half and go with a little bit lesser amount then?
Right, but then it wouldn't look like I don't know. But I will say this, knowing where it comes from, I think, how do you even say it? I don't want to say like it's getting like maybe too cute for what it really needs to be, but
yeah,
they usually deliver pretty well on their formulas. I know they're pretty rock solid company, but yeah, there's
Yeah, and I guess if they build it as just like a high stim pre-workout or something, I think I would do that. I think it's also the naming convention is bugging me a bit too, because
I think it.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I think this is kind of like similar things you do see people do in pre-workouts, and that's what I don't really care for, because I don't want my pre-workout to be like this.
Right.
But now, like we were talking about, if I'm, going to be working or something like that, I just need like a mental boost, and you do want something sort of calming you down.
Yeah.
Then we can do something like this. It's when companies make pre-workouts that formulas are similar to this that I'm like, I don't like that. But I don't know. Like, it's kind of cool. It uses some cool ingredients. It just would be interesting to see, especially 50 milligrams of Canaese. That's a cool ingredient, and I've had some products that have it that I love, and some that I do not like. So, I don't know, man. It's interesting.
Yeah. And following up on the Aspedo K Broncho Blanco, type that name into your favorite search engine, and the first study that'll pop up is a 2002 study from the Journal of Urology, and it's performed by a German lab. by Sperling et al. It says an extract from the bark of Aspidosperma quebrancho blanco binds to human penile alpha adrenoceptors. So the purpose, it says, we determined whether an extract from the bark of the tree Aspidosperma, which is used as a prescription drug to treat erectile dysfunction in some countries, can bind to human penile alpha-1 and alpha-2 adrenoceptors and cloned human alpha adrenoceptor subtypes.
Right.
In the results, it says this fraction largely contained yohimbine. So, hooray! We were on the money with that. Whereas the other fractions were devoid of yohimbine. Based on yohimbine competition binding experiments with penile and cloned alpha-1 and alpha-2 adrenoceptors, it appears that the inhibitory effects of the extract and its subfractions can largely be explained by its yohimbine content. And then, in conclusion, they say an alpha adrenoceptor-mediated component of the pro-erectile effects of Aspidosperma bark extract may predominantly be caused by its yohimbine content. The alpha adrenoceptor-independent pro-erectile effects of the extract could not be determined from this study. So, in addition to being very amped up, you might also get a boner when you take this too.
Well, it makes sense because, I mean, that's like exactly what you'll find if you look up yohimbine, things like that, is they'll, blood flow and all this other good stuff. But then they can't, a lot of times they'll say, but we're not able to fully say, yes, it works for erectile dysfunction, but it could.
Correct.
I think that's what a lot of stuff that I've read anyway. But, well, there you go. That's, well, I guess you just have to test it out then.
Correct, yeah. We'll just use it. We'll see what happens.
There's a lot of, so I do have to get going here in maybe like 10, 15 minutes, but there is a lot of garbage on the front page of Stack this week. There's some Insane Labs, and there's some 6-star Pro Nutrition. So I don't know.
We got, MRE Light is touting it's got 6 different protein sources in its new RTD.
To do an RTD,
just get ready for a bunch of questions on your Insta stories.
So, do you want to talk about the protein wars?
Yeah, I was gonna lead in with that this week actually, but we got off on some lifestyle issues and some other things.
Mm-hmm.
We'll also bypass the Insane Labs new fat burner because we all know that that's going to be like a 2-gram prop blend of 500 milligrams of caffeine and some other bullshit. So
at least they don't claim it fixes any mental
issues. Yeah. So the big news from the 2019 Stack3D Protein Wars is that Ghost takes the crown. It's the Ghost's first win in the competition. And it's apparently the most competitive that it's ever been in the 7-year history of the Protein War voting contest. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I guess like protein has become so competitive, and there's so many great ones that's why. If you're really talking about like when they say the best protein, like what does that mean? Because they're one of the few that I believe they fully break down everything.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Which, if you're going to have, just my opinion, if you're going to have a best protein, because we're not saying it's the best protein flavor, right? That's part of it, but to me, whatever wins would have to be fully laid out.
Yeah.
For me. So I think it's good. I think because Bomar was in there too. I like Bomar a lot. I don't think theirs is disclosed. But if you're going to be there at this point, I would want to see a fully disclosed protein.
In all fairness, Ghost they tell you exactly what the protein blend is, but they don't tell you all of the milligrams of how much sucralose, how much ACE, and all of that stuff's in there. They just give you a detailed breakdown of what the actual protein blend is.
Of the protein. Yeah. Right, which that's what I think that should be the minimum.
Right.
Anymore, like before. Like we don't, I shouldn't say we don't expect, we should expect everyone to do it like NutriBio.
Right.
You should be able to. So, but if they're actually saying, right, because they have the chart at the bottom, whey protein isolate is this much. Like, if you're going to win this, you have to do this.
Right.
This.
Yeah.
Because I don't, we've just seen it too much, man. Especially when it comes to blends. Like I love blended proteins and stuff like that, but there's too much chance for fuckery and stuff like that and things like that. And if at the end of the day all you're judging is flavor, then make it a best flavor contest.
Correct.
So, speaking of NutriBio, I'm supposed to get something from them today. It might be what my dog's barking at.
Yeah. Any ideas on what it is?
I actually have no idea. No. I'm hoping that it's the new
Alpha.
They're doing a block party punch. That's gotta be UPS. My dog, my dog's losing his shit. He fucking hates UPS.
Is he more of a FedEx supporter? Is that why? He doesn't like UPS.
Great. He hates them all. He hates the mail person, UPS, FedEx, hates them all.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just think that if you're going to win a contest like this, for me personally, you have to have a disclosed protein. And now, granted, if it's just an isolate in there,
yeah, then it's obvious, what's in there.
Right. So I don't want to like get too ahead of myself and say, oh, it has to be this way. But it's just something that I want to see companies do more of. As long as we're doing transparency, I think there's just been too many things with proteins and stuff like that I don't know, man. I want to see as much information as possible, especially because there's just so many great ones out there. I don't know, man. It's like one of the hardest parts of my day is trying to figure out what protein I'm going to use post-workout. Because it's like, we're always like, well, can you recommend me a good protein? It's like my running joke now. I was like, I can't recommend an apple protein to you because I have like 4 apple proteins that are amazing.
Yeah.
So don't ask me to recommend a protein flavor anymore. But I think Ghost is, when you take the entire line in consideration too, they've always been doing like more disclosure than a lot of companies, and they break down certain things. And I think it's well deserved. I tried the Chips Ahoy. At first, I really liked the Chips Ahoy, but it's more novelty than anything.
Yeah.
I actually don't really care for it. My wife loves it, which is cool, but it's not that great. It's really just not. It's all the cookie pieces are like always on the bottom of my shaker, so you're just like, I don't know. And the actual protein itself doesn't really blow me away. It's just got a bunch of cookie pieces in it. So, but I've heard their other flavors are really good. So
yeah, I like the old cereal milk and peanut butter cereal milk. When Ghost first launched, it had those too, and I enjoyed those a lot. I haven't tried many of the other ones since then, but I enjoyed those two back when they had them.
I think Chips Ahoy is the only. I really have not tried much Ghost stuff. The Chips Ahoy was the only one that I tried, and it's kind of a cool idea and stuff, but it's not that great a tasting protein, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and overall, Dan knows what he's doing with flavoring. I mean, back when he was with your favorite supplement company back in the day, before he started Ghost, he was instrumental in creating their lemon lime flavors and stuff like that. So, he's been in the flavor game for a while and knows what it does to create some good flavoring. So.
Well, what I like too is, so you have, I would say, both of the finalists here, both the owners of the companies are also very interactive with people.
Yeah.
There's definitely some companies, some bigger ones, that sort of have this barrier up there, like, just listen to our promotional bullshit, but if you actually have any questions for me, don't bother, kind of thing. Redcon does that all the time. It's like, it's one reason why I hate their guts. It's like, you can't even like respond to people. It's because they have children basically running their social media accounts, stuff like that. Whereas if you reach out to Dan, and you're talking about Ghost, Dan will respond.
Correct.
And Sarah at Bomar, she responds to like everything. It's like, it's the way it should be, man. That's why we like companies like, I like a Pro and Morphogen and companies like this, where it's like, as big or small as you are, you should still be able to answer questions, especially these days when everything's so highly competitive. So I think from the 6 that we saw, I think we already talked about it, I think these 2 were good choices, and I think Ghost is a good choice to win it. It's not my favorite protein.
Yeah.
But I can see why people, it's a popularity contest, so I get it.
Right. Closing thoughts on Shane also announced that they do their Brand of the Year awards every year, and they're going to be introducing a new functional food brand of the year, as well as an international brand and newcomer of the year. They've announced their 5 nominees for their functional food brand of the year, which that's obviously going to be like some kind of protein snack or, protein bar, protein popcorn, protein cereal, thing like that. The 5 nominees are Grenade, GOT7 Nutrition, Outright, Bear Bells, and F-Bomb, which is more of like a keto-forward kind of snack. It's supposed to be like a fat bomb.
Well, the only company I've ever tried is MTS. What was Outright? So yeah, kind of leaves me out of the running. Outright bars are pretty good. They don't blow me away like some people, but I think they're a nice addition to have. I think it's still a snack. I think functional food is kind of a weird thing to kind of call it. I don't think it's a functional food. I think it's a snack, but whatever. That's semantics. I don't know. I love Shane. I love Stack. So.
Yeah, it drives eyeballs to his thing. It gives us stuff to talk about and helps pay for his ad space and all that good stuff. So
yeah, that's awesome. They have the best news site for supplement news for a reason, and you need traffic. So
right.
We can just talk about it, afterwards. I can't imagine anybody beating Outright just because of the massive amount of popularity that they have achieved in the last year. They have.
Yep.
I know that Mark has a lot of resources and experience, and that obviously helps you start. But the amount, it's hard to find a company that grows as fast as Outright did in 2019.
Well, yeah, he poured a ton of resources in that, whether that was scaling back on some of the stuff that Tiger was actually doing, like Tiger Fitness was actually doing, or MTS was releasing, and diverting more money into that or something like that. I'm not sure, or if it's just I know he spends a lot of time on the road, shaking hands and taking pictures, kissing babies, all that kind of good stuff too. So, it would be interesting to see if they can win that. Like you said, I'll echo your sentiments that the Outright bars, they're okay. I like the super artificial kind of texture of the bar stuff. Right. I don't have any issues from glycerin and all the other scare words that the real food bar manufacturers try to say. I don't have any issues with those things, and I find them a little bit more enjoyable because they taste more like candy. The Outright bar tastes like you're biting into, an oatmeal bar. Mm-hmm. And I don't get very full off of them either. It's a lot of calories and a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
I'm not saying sugar's bad either. Yeah, I could easily eat 4 and not be full. And I'm not saying that, but if I'm going to vote for a protein bar, the protein's got to be pretty close to the carb count and a little bit lower fat. Just for, that's my own personal opinion on the matter. I'm sure that'll irritate somebody.
Well, what I think about one positive I will definitely say about things like the Outright bar and stuff like that is anything that, I can nitpick it. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
A lot of people absolutely love it, right?
Right, correct.
What the Outright bar is good for, and what I'll give Mark a lot of credit for, is people coming up on Doug Miller's doing this too over America with the snacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
By bringing more people into the supplement industry ecosystem is good for the long-term health of the supplement industry.
Absolutely,
and both people, like Mark has, MTS is a good solid line. Mm-hmm. So if people find the Outright bar in their, grocery store, and all of a sudden they find out more about it, all of a sudden they get introduced to a quality supplement line. Now, if you find America Snacks, you find some of those beef sticks, and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
And then you learn more about their company. And so anything that brings more people into the industry, I think, is a good thing. And it's legitimate. I mean, there are some people that love Outright bars.
Yeah, and hopefully it's cool. Also something that I would feel safe giving to a child or a kid, too. Right. It's not something that's super overly processed or anything like that. It's more natural, more akin to eating a bowl of oatmeal than some of the other protein bars that you and I eat on a more regular basis. Plus, it also, like you said, brings them to a good company, and hopefully that diverts sales away from shitty companies that try to do sketchy things by consumers, like Insane Labs and other those that make just really shitty products. So.
Well, it's like if I'm gonna, I'll just leave that part out. But it's like when you have people like them using their resources, like I said, to to get more customers into the industry by providing a good quality product. Mm-hmm. What I ultimately, my personal opinion is about the product, like, does it fit my taste? Not exactly, but is it good for the entire industry?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well put, man. And we will end on a high note for today. So yeah, good closeout of the show. Thank you for meet me for an early date so we can both get on to our enjoyable afternoons. And then this will air tomorrow, and then next week is Christmas. And so a week from today would be the day after Christmas. Yeah. Next Thursday is the 26th. So we will see if
that's Miami's bowl game.
We will get together for a podcast or not. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm just next Thursday. We're not doing anything really for Christmas. Miami's bowl game is the 26th. That's what happens when you suck, is you play way before everyone else. So that's what I'm doing, man. So no, I'm down. I'm down next week.
All right.
Then I'll get my way.
Sandy to take the toddler away because unfortunately the daycare is closed from Christmas Eve until the New Year's Day. So that's like 8 straight days that we've got to deal with our 2-year-old for 24 hours a day. That's it's gonna be rough.
That's terrible, man. He didn't have kids for that.
There's a reason we pay for daycare. We love our daughter, but it's nice to have some mommy daddy time too.
Yep, I can understand.
So,
all right, brother.
All right, man. Have a good one.